with that, I'll call the meeting to order here, and I've got to find my handy dandy cheat sheet here. So I'll call the meeting to order and ask the clerk for roll call, please.
All right, Dr. Goodwin.
Here.
Mr. Mulligan.
Here.
Mr. Saldani. Mr. Robertson.
Here.
Mr. Hartwig.
Here.
Through the chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Let's see here. Then we'll move on into the consent calendar. And I did have a question actually on the consent calendar on the minutes from last meeting. If you guys will indulge me for a quick second on a question. It mentioned, I think that there was like a star on there that said that Dr. Goodwin was absent, but then the star says David Saldani joined. I'm talking about number 2, the roll call. The Mr. Saldani joined at 10:16. Should that star, not that it's a huge deal, but should that star just be moved next to his name, or am I crazy for thinking that? Anybody?
I don't have an answer.
Looking at past templates, it's usually underneath the actual list.
Okay. There's a star next to Dr. Goodwin's name, right? So where
Oh,
the vice chair.
that's smart. Got it. Yeah, I think that should be adjusted. Yes.
So I just noticed that. I don't know if it's a big deal or not. I'm not an attorney, nor do I play one on television, but I just figured I guess I'd ask the question. So if we can make that change, I guess then I'd be fine with it, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar with that change.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar with Daniel's recommendation for change.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Appreciate it. All right. All those in favor, or I guess actually we got to call this as a roll call here. So Stephanie, if you would call the roll on that vote, please.
Dr. Goodwin. Dr. Goodwin, are you there?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Mr. Mulligan.
Yes.
Mr. Robertson.
Yes.
Mr. Hartwig.
Yes.
Through the chair, motion passes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Then that moves us on. Then so we've got minutes approved with the corrections stated here. And then we'll move on to opening the public hearing. And I'm going to ask any witnesses who attend today to stand and raise your right hand so that you may be sworn in. So I see Chris's hand briefly appearing and disappearing. I see some other hands. Perfect. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give in the matters pending before the hearing board today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes. Thank you all. Appreciate it. So with that, then we'll move now to docket A C-22-10S, the short variance for CertainTeed. Do we have anybody from CertainTeed here? Doesn't appear. Actually, let's move on. If everybody else is okay with that, I'm going to actually move Guardian ahead since Mr. Roach is here, and maybe we'll give CertainTeed a chance. And I see Mr. Saldani has joined as well. If we want to note that is also. So we're going to move to, actually. So I'm going to move to B then Guardian since Mr. Roach is here, and then we'll come back to CertainTeed, and hopefully they have a chance to appear. So let's go to item B, C-22-11 short S, short variance for Guardian Industries. Who's taking that one?
I am.
Okay, thanks, Estella.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Estela Soto, and I'm a senior air quality specialist here with the district. And before you is Guardian Industries, LLC. Guardian operates a float glass manufacturing facility with a 212 MMBTU per hour natural gas-fired glass melting furnace. And in order to control the emissions, the furnace exhaust is routed through an emission control system that include a dry scrubber, an electrostatic precipitator, and a selective catalytic reduction system. Guardian has plans to shut down the dry scrubber and the SCR system the EP and the SCR system in order to inspect and clean the EP. To conduct the maintenance, the furnace exhaust stream must bypass the emission control devices. District Rule 4354 allows for excess NOx, VOC, CO, SOx, and PM emissions for up to 144 hours per year during maintenance of the emission control devices. Guardian currently has 50.1 maintenance hours remaining. Variance protection is necessary because the glass melting furnace, once heated up, operates nonstop for many years in what is known as a campaign. It cannot be shut off without causing significant damage to the furnace. A glass melting furnace takes several days to shut down and several weeks to go back to operational temperature. Guardian has requested a short variance from the applicable requirements of district rules in addition to the applicable conditions of the subject permits. The requested short variance will be for a consecutive 50.1 hour period to occur sometime between September 1st, 2022 and October 31st, 2022 inclusive. If granted, the variance will allow the continued operation of the glass melting furnace and continued glass production with excess visible emissions while Guardian shuts down the emission control system in order to perform the routine maintenance on the EP. The district believes that the required findings as set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that Guardian be granted a short variance with the conditions on pages 4 and 5 of the staff report. And that concludes the district's presentation.
Thank you, Estella. John, is there any questions or any feedback or any presentation you'd like to make?
No, thank you. Estella pretty much covered everything. Appreciate it, Estella.
Okay. Do any of the hearing board members have questions? I see Mr. Mulligan has unmuted here. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, so you're gonna use up the remaining 50 hours of your maintenance. Is that, what happens in between? You reestablish 144 new hours if something should happen?
Jerry, you're kind of cutting in and out. Can you repeat the question, maybe?
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the 50 hours remaining on their maintenance. That's going to exhaust them, probably, I'm guessing. And then they get a new reset at the first of the year.
Yeah, there's no risk to exhaust the hours. We want to. It's pretty much the cushion we will have to do what we need to do, and then if we happen to cut off work that's not really necessary to do while utilizing the rest of the hours, we can go and start the next cycle in the next year with what we could do in that next cycle.
And when is your next campaign scheduled for?
That's a very good question. We're pretty much at the tail end, and I would say roughly 2026, 2028. But again, that's a rough estimate, not a very, don't quote me on it, but I can tell you we're pretty much nearing the end.
When was the last campaign?
2008.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Robertson, you have a question?
Yeah. When was the last time you cleaned these EPs?
We have been cleaning them on a quarterly cycle. As far as if by cleaning you mean just simply blowing down to get the accumulated material off the fields. We typically go in towards the end of the year to really go inside and clean everything as best as we can. Do some needed repairs if necessary. But typically a quarterly cycle for a non-intrusive blow down, but at the end of the year it's going in and really like a car detail, I would say, right?
Okay, so I guess my question is, when was the last time the car detail cleaning was done? Is it once a year?
Yeah, once a year. It was last October.
Okay, and how long did it take back then?
Oh, good question. I want to say maybe 20, maybe roughly 30 hours, 30, 40 hours, just depending
Okay.
on what was done.
Did you find any damage to the EPs then? And do you expect to find any damage to them this go around?
Well, I can tell you, we've run into situations where we've had to do emergency fixes this year because for example, the last emergency variance we had to repair damaged insulator. So those are, you never know though. Sometimes we have a good year, everything's good with the EP, but then you run into some breakdowns that occur and we have to go in and do some repairs. This time around, I can tell you maybe we may not have as many repair things needed because of, we had to do emergency repairs over the course of the year. But, that being said, if we find something, we got to fix it.
Okay. And that would typically require another type of variance emergency.
No, we can incorporate that repair while we're, if we discover it, we can do the repair while we're in and utilize the same variance that got approved.
Okay. Yeah, you said it was typical 30 hours. You're requesting 50 here, so that's your buffer, right? Of about
That's the
20
buffer.
hours.
We've typically asked for the remaining hours, at the end of the year, pretty much, to do the last deep car detail.
Okay.
Great analogy, guys. Are there any other questions from hearing board members? All right, hearing none then. Mr. Roach, you reviewed the conditions of the variance. I'm assuming you're fine.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Do we have any members of the public that wish to be heard on this matter?
We do not have any public attendees at this time.
I appreciate the feedback. Then with that being said, I'll entertain a motion if anybody's willing to make one. Go ahead, Andy.
I move to approve Guardian Industry LLC's petition for a short variance set forth in docket number C-22-11S with the required six findings of the health and safety code adopted by reference as set forth in the staff report. The variance shall be effective for a consecutive 50.1 hour period of time to occur sometime between September 1, 2022 and October 31, 2022 inclusive, or until the maintenance has been completed and the emission control devices are returned to compliant operation, whichever occurs first, and shall be subject to the conditions on pages 4 to 5 of the staff report.
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Soldani. Then with the motion and second, I'll ask the clerk to call roll, please.
Dr. Goodwin,
Dr. Goodman on mute.
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Takes me a while.
Yes.
Mr. Soldani,
Aye.
Mr. Robertson,
Yes.
Mr. Hartwig.
Yes.
Through the chair, motion passes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Roach.
Thank you, everyone.
Then that moves us here. As I scroll back up here to, let's see, we are on to, or we're back to docket C-22-10S, the short variance for Certainteed LLC. And I will turn it over to who looks eager to present this. I'm guessing.
No, it's myself. Do we need to swear in Mr. Cuthbertson?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I apologize. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for that. Mr. Cuthbertson, if you would please, since I don't believe you were sworn in here, will you actually be on camera here possibly, I guess, or I guess, does it matter if he's on camera? Do we have an attorney present? Doesn't matter.
It should be on camera here.
Yeah, I
There
see
you
him.
go. All right. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matters pending before the hearing board today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And then Chris, did you draw the lucky straw here?
Yes, that I did. And I'll go ahead and kick this off. All right. Good morning, everybody. Chris Kalash, Air Quality Specialist here at the district. And before you this morning is Certainteed. They operate a glass melting furnace and other equipment that's associated with the production of fiberglass insulation. The exhaust from the furnace is vented through a preconditioning chamber, caustic soda injection, and a dry electrostatic precipitator I'll refer to that as the EP in this presentation, and it's to control PM emissions. The EP and the caustic injection system require yearly cleaning, assessment, and maintenance. And in order to do this, CertainTeed needs to bypass and shut down the entire emissions control system, which includes their SEMS and their COMS, which are on their main exhaust stack. One of the district's rules, 4354, which is for glass melting furnaces, allows for excess emissions of NOx, VOC, CO, SOx, and PM during maintenance of an add-on emission control systems for up to 144 hours per year. And as of right now, CertainTeed has 74.6 hours remaining. So the maintenance exemption, although it does cover those pollutants, it does not exempt and apply to visible emissions. And during this, during when they do go through this bypass, they do oftentimes have visible emissions. CertainTeed has requested a short variance from the applicable requirements of district rules in addition to the applicable conditions of their subject permits. The requested short variance period is going to be for a consecutive 72-hour period. And they're looking at that between September 1st, 2022 and September 30th, 2022 inclusive. If it is granted, the variance is going to allow for the exhaust stream from the glass melting furnace to bypass the preconditioning chamber, caustic soda injection, the EP, and SEMS while maintenance is performed on the EP. And as earlier when I mentioned the visible emissions not being covered by the 144 hours, this variance protection would allow for visible emissions, and they would not exceed 95% opacity. For CertainTeed to continue to stay in compliance, they would have to shut down the glass melting furnace while the control equipment was offline. And this variance protection is necessary because the glass melting furnace, once heated up, operates nonstop for many years and is what is known as a campaign. It cannot be shut off without causing significant damage to the furnace. And a glass melting furnace takes several days to shut down and several weeks to get back to operational temperature. The district believes required findings as set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that CertainTeed be granted a short variance with the conditions on pages 4 and 5. This concludes the district's presentation.
Thanks, Chris. And I'll ask Mr. Cuthbertson, do you have any presentation you'd like to make or any questions you'd like to, I guess, to answer or anything like that based on the presentation?
No, just want to state that we have had the EP down for a good while. At the beginning of the year, we actually rebuilt the furnace. So we don't expect there to be any issues when we go in, take a look after cleaning, because the EP was also rebuilt during the furnace rebuild. But it's something that we need to do on a regular basis.
Appreciate that. And you're good with the conditions, I presume, in the variance?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any hearing board members that have questions for Mr. Cuthbertson or for staff? I see no raised hands or unmuting, so I will presume no. Go ahead, Andy. Yep, there.
Yeah. So I see you expect up to 95% opacity. What do you expect the duration of the of time when you're at that 95%? Do you have any estimates of?
I don't expect to use the. I'm sorry. I don't expect to use the full 72 hours we asked for. That was simply because if we do find something, there's a possibility we need that time. But if we find nothing and we've cleaned the EP, we can clean it and get everybody out and restart in roughly 30 hours or less.
Okay. Yeah. My question was, what do you expect to be the duration of the excess opacity?
That would be from start to finish. It would probably last anywhere from 24 to 30 hours.
Okay. Okay. And you said you rebuilt this earlier in the year, right?
We did.
Yeah. And is this the first inspection since that rebuild?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay.
This is Dr. Goodwin. I think the question was, how long do you expect the high levels of the of the high levels of discharge to be. Is that what you were trying to say, Andy? Or did he answer your questions?
If he's got an estimate of that, I noticed in the prior staff report, it gave some percentages of opacity and then expected durations. And I didn't see that in this.
Yeah, it was left out of that. And I think they go for a pretty long time. How, do you remember, Mr. Cuthbertson, what we talked about before with the,
I believe I remember somewhat. We want to try to reduce that time frame. I understand that, and all I can give you is an estimate. Essentially, when the bypass cap is open and the exhaust from the furnace is expended to the atmosphere, it immediately goes to roughly 85 to 95%, and it stays that way until we have the cap completely closed. So the closure may take, once we start to close it, it could take an hour to 2 hours. So we'll still be at that 85 to 95% opacity level until it's closed. I guess guesstimate, if you will, if we can do it in 24 hours, it would be start to finish from the opening of the cap, the bypass cap, until the closure of that cap.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from board members? All right, I pulled the trigger too quick before, so I want to leave the beat here, but I think we're good here. Nobody else? Or Jerry, are you going? Are you? All right. So with that, then, if there's no other questions, is there any public discussion of the variance? Is there a member of the public that wishes to comment on this?
Through the chair, we still do not have any public attendees.
Appreciate it. We got to ask though. So with that, I will entertain a motion if anybody is inclined to make one.
I'll move.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'll move to approve Certainty LLC petition for a short variant set forth in docket number C-22-0S with the required 6 findings of the health and safety code approved by reference as set forth in the staff report. The variance shall be effective for a consecutive 72-hour period to occur between September 1st, 2022 and September 30, 2022 inclusive, or until the repairs have been made and emissions control equipment has been returned to compliant operation, whichever occurs first.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry. Is there a second?
Yeah, with the conditions 4 and 5.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Andy. With the clerk, please call roll.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes,
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mr. Saldani. Mr. Saldani, are you there?
Aye, apologize.
Mr. Robertson,
Yes.
Mr. Hartwig.
Yes.
Through the chair, motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cuthbertson, for the time.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, then that closes that portion of the hearing. Then we'll open it up. Then if there are any member of the public that wishes to comment on any matter within our jurisdiction not on the agenda, we'll make that time right now.
Through the chair, we still have no public attendance.
But I appreciate you being so friendly about it, Stephanie. So thank you for letting us know. Any hearing board member comments? Does anybody wish to make any comments at this time? Any member of the board? Dr. Goodwin, you unmuted.
no, I just unmuted, but I didn't have any comments.
Okay. We have a couple new faces here. Or Jerry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank staff for the good reports. They do a good job and it makes our job a lot easier. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that too. I was actually going to point out, I don't recognize a couple of the faces on here. If maybe if somebody could introduce them, perhaps.
I will, Daniel. So Daniel, we have our new district assistant counsel, Isila Wells. And we have a new supervisor that's working with Stephanie in her capacity. They'll be working, I'm assuming, off and on doing this, Katrina Rojas.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you guys.
We have Estella Soto in a new position because she was promoted to a senior air quality specialist.
Awesome.
So
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Estella.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Clay, for that introduction. And thank you guys for being here, and congratulations to everybody in their new roles, new capacities, and just being new faces on here. It's nice to have a different Brady Bunch pattern to look at on my Zoom screen here. So, so I appreciate that. So thank you guys, and congratulations all. With
Daniel,
that,
I'm going to interrupt you again. I'm sorry. I wanted to thank the Central Board for having a good attendance record. We have some challenges in the other regions, and I want to say thank you because it makes our scheduling these hearings a little easier. So.
oh well, then kudos to the board here. Good job all around, and
I
appreciate
second
you guys.
that, Clay.
Yeah, we're 5 for 5 today, so that's good. So I like it. All right. Any other comments? If not, then we'll move on to new business. See no comments. Then new business, there being none, that takes us to adjournment. So appreciate y'all. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.